Welcome to The Arts Are the Answer, a co-production of the Arts Council for Monterey County and Access Monterey Peninsula. I'm Steve Elsey, Executive Producer for AM.
And I'm Paulette Lynch, Executive Director of the Arts Council for Monterey County. We're so excited about this new program. Each month we'll bring you in-depth interviews, event highlights, and insider info on all the arts in our beautiful region. But this is your show. Get involved. We welcome sponsors, volunteers, and guests. Visit us at artsformc.org/answer to find out more.
In this next half hour, we're going to introduce you to artists, organizers, and others who are making wonderful things happen through the arts in our region. We have with us today Walter Ryce, who will be interviewing artist Marilee Childs, and the amazing Trish Sullivan from Artistas Unidos, Artists United. We'll also share highlights of upcoming arts events and so much more.
It all starts right now.
At the fair in May of 2007, I was so in awe of all the local artists that were exhibiting art at the fairgrounds. And that was like the spark, like, oh, a home for local artists here in King City. That we would have art, that we would have music, that we would have everything that I was able to go to Monterey and Big Sur and Portland, and all my travels were for art and culture. And I thought, oh my gosh, we could have art and culture in King City after seeing all those artists and all of the local musicians. And so it all just came together. I mean, it all just became real clear. At that time, I was specifically for the youth. It was for the youth that, you know, I wanted. That was the drive. That was the call to leadership. And then more people started coming, and so it just kept growing and growing. Another component of our art in the classrooms. The first one is they come here and they get to experience the gallery and learn about the mediums and have the project. And the other part is that now we're going there and offering it to them at the schools. And this is during the summer. And that's our Arts in the Classroom program. Everything that is created. We have events, we have children's theater, we have music. Our music program is strings, guitar, piano. Now we have youth choir. We're also sponsoring an adult choir. So that keeps me committed, because we just are offering so much all together. The organization, Soul Treasures, is just, but it's the youth that they have all of this here in King City.
I'm here with Trish Sullivan, who is the Executive Director of Artistas Unidos, Artists United. Trish, thanks so much for coming in.
Well, you're welcome. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Arttoberfest. Tell us about that event. How did it come into being?
Well, it was a natural outgrowth of the First Friday's Art Walk, which we do in Salinas, and that's been going on about 8 years now. So we wanted to have a chance to really give a deeper understanding to the community and to any art lovers in Salinas and the Monterey Bay area about the actual process of creating art.
Now, how did you get the community and the artists involved in this project?
Well, a lot of years of building relationships. We just going out and talking to people, working with the artists that we've been working with First Fridays, and new artists as they come into the area, to really connect them with the community.
Why is it important? Why is it important to have Arttoberfest in Salinas, and why is it important for Monterey County?
Well, I think that one of the biggest reasons that it's important is that we have such a deep and rich artistic community in Salinas. The Monterey Peninsula has really been known, and so has Santa Cruz, for its arts and culture. But Salinas hasn't really been known so much for it. So we have a very large number of artists that live and work in Salinas. And I think that's something that many people don't know about. And it's an important way for us to really get the word out in the community as to the amazing amount of talent that we have in Salinas.
And then the motivation. What was the core motivation to bring Arttoberfest to Salinas?
Well, one of the biggest motivations was really about the artists, because the artists need to have a chance to really to shine, to show what they can do, to share their talents. And we don't have that many chances. I mean, we've been doing the First Friday Art Walk for 8 years now, but we always can use more arts events in Salinas. Another reason is that the arts really build community. They create this vibrancy in this, and because we're doing it, we have the event in downtown Salinas. It really helps create and we create this vibrant core in our downtown area of arts and culture, and it brings people from all different types of arts together. So it's not just visual art, it's performing arts and literary arts as well.
What effect has this had on businesses in the area?
Well, I can tell you from the First Fridays Art Walk perspective, during the Art Walk nights, which is the first Friday of every month, rain or shine, we haven't missed one yet, businesses that participate find that their sales are up between 10 and 30% on that evening, which is phenomenal. It's a huge amount of increase in sales. So, arts not only build community, but it's a driving force for economic development.
Absolutely. Do you have a moment in 8 years of doing this that really comes to the forefront of your mind when you think about it?
Yes, we work with a lot of teenagers. So we have teens that we mentor in the arts, and not just the visual arts, but the business of art as well, so that teens understand there's a lot of different careers available in the arts. It's not just painting or sculpting or playing music. That you can be a gallery manager or a museum curator or a promoter. There's just so much to do in the arts. Or even television, right? Because that's an art too. I had a young woman that we were working with that had her art on display for one of our events. And she came to me afterwards and she said, I never realized that anybody else would really like my art. She says, my parents like it because they're supposed to, and my teachers like it and encourage me because they're supposed to. But I had no idea that complete strangers would be making positive comments and really like what I was doing. And that's a big deal for these young people. It's a huge boost to their self-esteem and their drive to succeed in life. What
a great story. Trish, how and when is this going to happen? I should say when and where.
When and where? Well, in downtown Salinas, which is the Old Town portion of Salinas, about the 3 blocks of Main Street. It is happening on the first Friday in October, which this year is October 5th, and it's on California Arts Day, which is always the first Friday in October. About 3 or 4 years ago, Mayor Donahue also proclaimed it Salinas Arts Day, so we now have an official designation for Salinas Arts Day. And it's from 5 to 8 p.m. That's our kickoff for Arttoberfest, and part of during the First Fridays Art Walk. We're going to have live music in like 20 or 30 different places and all kinds of live performances. I think we're going to be able to get Dizzy Hips to come in and do a hula hoop performance, and just all kinds of really awesome stuff. The Women of Whimsy have agreed to come and perform, which is really exciting. They're an improv group, so we're going to have theater and live music and everything else. Oh, and you wanted to know when it was happening, yes. So 5 to 8 in downtown Salinas, October 5th.
October 5th.
And then it continues on with the Open Studios Tour, which is the weekend following. So that's the the 6th and 7th for Salinas, and South County is the 13th and 14th of October, and the weekends open studios are from like 12 to 4 every day on the weekends. Okay. And finally, we're going to have the culmination of Arttoberfest, which is with a gala reception for all the artists on October 20th from 12 to 5, and that will be the same day as the Salinas Valley Food and Wine Festival. So we're going to have a really happening, vibrant downtown on that day.
And is there a website that people can go to get more information?
Absolutely. It's www.arttoberfestsalinas.org.
Trish, thanks so much, first of all, for putting together this fantastic event, and thanks for coming down and sharing it with us today.
Oh, you're welcome. It was my pleasure.
Hi, my name is Walter Ryce. I'm a staff writer and calendar coordinator at the Monterey County Weekly, and it's my distinct pleasure to be here with Marilee Childs, artist and alchemist, based in Pacific Grove, to talk with us about her art and about the process of her art. Hi, Marilee. Thanks for being here.
Oh, great to see you, Walter.
Your art seems to focus a lot on nature, in particular botanicals and animals and insects. How did you come to be exposed to nature, and how did it come to inhabit your art living in Cleveland?
Well, of course, you know, in Cleveland, it was kind of these brutal seasons of winter. And also at the time I lived there, it was extensively polluted. Both the river, the Cuyahoga River, was on fire, and the lake was dead. So, nonetheless, I still swam in the lake because it was a big body of water. So when spring would emerge, it was just for your all this bleakness, if you will, of the soot and the sulfuric acid and the things that came from all the international steel mills and all that. It was suddenly this just very wonderful to see the first buddings of leaves, the robins appear. So it was very meaningful for me as a child, the experience of the limits of nature when all of a sudden it wasn't there and then it was. Like I remember once walking up to Fruitland Elementary School, and it was very bleak. That when you live in a place that has a lot of pollution, the snow gets very black very quickly, and there's a lot of slush and grayness and darkness, and there's no green like you see here in California. Mm-hmm. And it was the beginning of spring, and I saw this blue on the ground. It was actually a robin's egg that had fallen from a nest. So it was sludge and gray and bleak, and suddenly this ravishing blue of this egg opened up with a yellow yolk inside.
You also were, in addition to that early inspiration of nature, you were also exposed to art, if I understand it correctly, from an early age too. Who did that for you, and what venue?
At that time in the school system, that was one of the focuses. There was time in every day where we would draw and paint. And then in, I guess you call it middle school, but then it was, you know, like there was a school that had the art in them, where you were in an art class if you majored in art through junior high and high school. So it was through the system of the school, plus the Cleveland Museum had a children's program, which I attended. They had that every Saturday, and a bus would pick the kids up and take them to the museum, so we'd see all this art, and we'd have our lunch there and spend the whole day in the museum.
You also seem to incorporate some of the sciences, like physics, and also geometry in your work. How does that figure into your paintings and your collage work?
I like quantum physics and science because it gives you this sense of vibrational energies, and also a sense of the vastness of what life really is. We're a part of the cosmos, so sometimes physicists will come up with equations that I particularly like, Not that I fully understand it, but I think they're beautiful equations that somebody reached into an energy field. I think the universe is very intelligent, and we just have to be curious or interested in that aspect, and it's all there for us to reach into. So a physicist has a particular kind of desire. So I happen to just like their work and their passion, and I like the mathematical theories.
Do you see yourself as a vessel for this kind of intelligence?
Well, I am the universe. So if I connect to that which is always creating and changing, then I'm just connecting to a field of energy.
Are you talking about, or at least alluding to, the subconscious?
The subconscious is only a frame of reference until you bring it into, a relationship. It's more like intimacy. So this is where when you are with your art and in the process, this is the intimacy of what you are experiencing in the art.
So this might be a good time to talk about one of your specific works of collage, The Mermaid.
That particular image, The Mermaid, is from this film I was very influenced, The Secret of Roan Inish, about mermaids. And so it became very symbolic, and I did several paintings with mermaids in them. Sometimes you are limited in thinking who you are or how you can see things. And then if you all of a sudden take this life drawing, which is just a study of the form of the human form, and you embellish it and make it into something like a mermaid, and you begin to believe the body of the mermaid, and the mermaid really exists, it just becomes something of the imagination. You find that playful part of yourself that wants magic, the desire to make magic.
There was another image, the one with the cat. That one, it seemed to be channeling some kind of, as you said, psychic pain.
You know, I was in this painful place in my life for quite a long period of time. And so rather than just being in that sense where you're just telling yourself stories about the pain that are sort of in your head, why not put it on paper and suggest what this pain looks like and give it a voice and a sound? And so in that regard, it had, the intestines coming out of the body and wrapping around the arms, and yet there was and holes in the body. The guts were all splayed open, and yet the face of the cat was very authoritative. So that means you can stand with your own pain. This is what it looks like, and you can just be with it, and you can give it a name and an image, if you will. It's very empowering. You aren't limited to the labeling, if you will, of how you think you are. You see yourself as finally, completely beaten. You are suddenly empowered by this image, and it gives you a new blood. I call it image blood. The image has this bloodstream, and suddenly, it's alive.
You also, in addition to being a longtime artist, you have, I believe, a day job?
Uh-huh.
And what is that?
I work as a server.
Yes.
I used to be a chef.
Ah.
Yeah.
So is there any relationship between your life as an artist and your life as a working person?
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, because you see the wildness of being an artist and all the moods and the music and the muse and everything, and then you go to this place and you have to be very, very highly disciplined to survive in this world.
You also have, I believe, coming up next weekend, a collage workshop is it at the Pacific Grove Arts Center?
Yes.
Okay. What do you hope to impart to people at that collage workshop?
I think it's very important for everyone to be in the arts and to be making things with their hands, to be in the process with your own body, with your hands, with however you want to work. But let's say in the implications of collage, it's your story. It's your magic. It's your totem. It's your daemon that you're making, and it's showing itself. It's nobody else's. It's there for you. So why not make it? Make art.
You also do, you work in aromatherapy, is that correct?
Right.
Yes?
Uh-huh.
How does that relate to that philosophy through which you do your art?
Trees have been here and developed an immune system for millions of years, so that's why one of the reasons they have survived for so long. So when you're working with an essential oil, you're actually, I like to work a lot with trees. It's just very powerful to work with those kind of energies because we are a part of them. So you're suddenly working with these really incredible, some trees live to be 1,000, 2,000 years old. We're just here so briefly. And so it's like, I like to go to the Big Sur, into the redwoods, those trees, just be in that environment with that kind of wisdom of genetically creating a kind of environment like that where you're going to survive for that long. Wow. Those are the maestros.
So how has the landscape here in Monterey County and in places like Big Sur, how's that influenced your art, your work, and the way you approach it?
Well, it's just so ravishing and beautiful here. Even in the hardest of whatever you might feel spiritually, once you're out in the environment, you see the rolling hills and the changing climate and all these presentations and all these flowers that grow here. If you form these relationships with these flowers, whether you've painted them or you're just familiar with them because you see them all the time, all of a sudden they're like your friends. And so it's like you go out and you're walking by all these gardens and you're seeing all your buddies.
You seem to have a sort of intent focus on details within.
Yeah.
So have you done also landscapes?
Yeah, sometimes, but I have some odd, I think I'm very weird. I have this odd interest in details. Like sometimes I go, why? Just throw some paint around, Why are you doing this? It's very arduous, it can be, but I don't know. It seems to be in my nature to focus on structure. I think I'm very interested in incarnation and how things present themselves in gravity. And I really want to look at them and try to understand and know these. It's architecture. It's like a cathedral to look at a lily.
You've got a sort of compendium of work coming out, or a retrospective. Was this in the form of a book?
Well, I did publish a book, but I'm somewhat eccentric in that I have a large body of work, but the reason I kept it rather than selling it is I'm interested in a body of work. I think for an artist to have a body of work in their life, to see all these expressions over a period of time can be very important.
What would you say thus far your body of work has said?
That you just stay in the process and see what comes of it. Art is a process. It's not about an outcome, and it's not particularly about economics. It's really about this amazing process.
And what has that process taught you?
Dedication and perseverance and authority, and I have the authority to stay in this process. That I think more people should or could avail themselves of the process of art and partner with others to bring more of a community of people who are also in this undulating process of this energy. More and more people would join in to be in process with their art, their personal art.
What do you suppose that would do for people or give to them or bring into their lives?
I think it would bring in healing, and it would be like when I was teaching a class for children, and you know, you have violence in your spirit. Well, what does that look like? What does that line of violence look like? Put it down on paper. Let it live. But you don't have to enact it. You can put it in your art with some kind of dark slash of whatever.
Marilee, I thank you very much for joining me here and talking about...
It was fun talking to you.
Yeah, likewise.
Hello, my name is Bernice House. I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator for the Arts Council. A few years ago, the Arts Council established a cultural directory to showcase the rich cultural diversity of Monterey County. Each episode, I will highlight one of the organizations or events from our directory. This month, we are featuring Noche Bohemia Nights, a unique event where poetry, songs, painting, photography, and other arts coalesce into a beautiful romantic experience. Here is a slice of what you will experience at Noche Bohemia.
Renunciar a quererte antes que ya no tenga remedio. Si mi vida dejara tu suerte, mi camino será un cementerio. Y basta ya.
That's it for now, and thanks to all of our wonderful guests today.
We hope you enjoyed our show. We'll have many more great shows to come. And remember, for more information,
just go to artsformc.org/answer.